Welcome back to whatever the heck this is called. Just a guy with a red mic talking ball in a Providence College polo today. Unfortunately, the Friars were not in the top 25 of the college basketball preseason poll, and someone give me a number of someone that's a part of whatever the hell AP is, because I've got a bone to pick. We have the best transfer class. I'm not even going to get into it, but just know I'm a big college basketball guy, so hopefully this show evolves into some college basketball stuff. But got a great episode for you guys today. We're going to recap Week 7. We're going to look ahead at Week 8 at a couple of key games. We had a phenomenal week this week. But before we get to all that, some quick housekeeping. You can find all my NFL stuff on the Sportsline YouTube. Just type in Sportsline. We do a show every single Thursday. We give you all the parlays you need. We just hit our touchdown parlay from this past weekend. It's really great stuff. You can find me on the Sportsline socials as well. But let's get into it. Shout out us. We hit the pay for the drinks parlay. Can I hear it from the people in the back? It was always Utah. It was always USC. And it was always Wake, throwing them together in a parlay and smacking that. Gave that out on last episode. Hopefully I had some people that tailed. If you tailed, drop a heck yeah in the comments. Drop a paid for my bar tab in the comments. That's how we just get back on track with some pay for the drinks. We also hit a Jeremiah Smith touchdown. Dampier ran in 3 touchdowns, like I said. Cash Dillon pass yards. Ryan Williams was non-existent, so whatever. Ohio State minus 13.5 was air. Alabama was air. That's my national champion at plus 700. I might get back in as we get closer to the end of the year, but Alabama was air going into Mizzou, and if you had Mizzou plus 3.5, we did one of these. We met right in the middle, and then no, I'm just kidding. We just did one of these. Indiana plus 7.5. Does it get much freer? We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Nebraska, Maryland, over. Fill our holes with points. That's cashed. Wake cashed. OU did not. We're going to talk about that. A&M minus 6.5 cashed. USC money line fit the system, and it cashed against Michigan. Kansas, really bad wager. Auburn, really bad wager. South Carolina, really bad wager. However, BYU, cash it. Utah minus 5.5. I gave that on Thursday at 5.5. It ended up going to 8.5 once Sam Levitt got marked out and they covered both spreads. That's just why you tune into the show. And then Hawaii late night for everyone that listened. I hope you clicked that button. I know I did, and I woke up to Hawaii cashing. All right, let's talk about some stuff that happened in college football in Week 7. James Franklin. Is there a better job than a Power 5 football coach that fails? Because getting a $50 million, $40 million, $35 million payout because you're bad at your job, I don't know if life gets better than that. Honestly, I'd like to sit here and be like, first of all, Penn State fans really disrespectful, yelling stuff at his wife and his kids. That is really disrespectful, and you shouldn't do that. However, what I'm not going to do is feel bad for the Franklin family, because you saw Coach O. When he got fired at LSU, the dude was hitting the Caribbeans, then he went to Bermuda, then he went to Mexico, just drinking his way through the world on whatever island he wanted to be on, because that's the best job ever. You get paid millions of dollars up front because you stunk at your job. And yeah, the games before the firing, that's got to suck. No debate. That's gotta suck. But you're telling me once you get fired for being bad at your job and the school goes, by the way, you were so bad at your job, we're firing you and giving you $50 million, that you're upset about it? James Franklin can take off the next 2 decades and be fine. James Franklin could take off the next 30 years and be fine, and then go hit up another coaching job and still have enough money to send 9,000 kids to college. I don't know if it gets better than being a disgruntled, fired Power 5 football coach. Leave in the comments if you think there's a better job. I genuinely can't think of one. I genuinely cannot. But Penn State, what are we doing, man? I asked this question, I think it was on last week's episode. If you're a Penn State fan, who's a better hire for you right now than what you have in James Franklin? And if you can't give me a name, you shouldn't fire him. You shouldn't fire him. And by the way, I got shown Penn State's schedule for next year. There's maybe 1 loss in there for the next head coach. And the fact that he didn't give James Franklin that next year, I just don't know if it's a great move. If I'm Penn State, yeah, the last 2 games have been shambles. His quarterback got knocked out at the end of the game. What did you want him to do? I feel as though he just got caught by 2 teams that were supposed to have no wins this year and that played up to their competition. And Penn State played down to their competition. Am I confused how Penn State got here? Yeah. It's like when you drink 30 beers and you end up at the karaoke bar and you hate karaoke and you go, how did I end up here? Like if I'm a Penn State fan, I'm like, how the heck did we end up here with Katron Allen coming back, with Nick Singleton coming back, with Drew Aller coming back? How the heck did we end up losing back-to-backs to UCLA and Northwestern? And James Franklin is fired. I've never seen anything like it in college football. If I'm James Franklin, though, I'm lit, $50 million to my face. Yeah, thanks, man. I'll have another. See you later. If you're Penn State, you better find the right guy. Because James Franklin, I saw Matt Rhule talk about it, who, by the way, is just so obviously going to be the next head coach for Penn State. I love this song and dance that all these coaches do. He's like, yeah, my alma mater. It's a great school. All the respect to James Franklin, who, by the way, doesn't get enough credit for how much he resurrected that Penn State program from what was going on years prior. James Franklin brought this program back from the grave. And the fact that this is how you get rid of them, this is how you say goodbye, it didn't sit right with me. Not that it matters what I think. When I do this, rocks hit the other side of my skull. But it just didn't feel right. Not that that matters, but it didn't feel right. And on the other side of that coin, like I said, Matt Rhule, I mean, dude, just give him the job, man. You went to school there. You met your wife there. The AD there was your AD at Temple, I'm pretty sure. Just take the job, man. Listen, I get Nebraska's really fun. You're having a good time with Dylan Raiola. But you went to Penn State. And I swear, if Nebraska fans or college football fans get upset at a guy that goes back to his college to coach over your college, we're just going to need to grow up. Because I went to Providence College, and if I had a chance to coach at Providence College just because I went there, yeah, that'd be sick. If I went to Penn State, met my wife at Penn State, was a college football coach, and the school and team that I grew up supporting, he said he was born in a Penn State t-shirt, guys. Before he was born, 9 months earlier, his dad probably took off a Penn State t-shirt, if you know what I'm saying. So he's got to take that job, dude. He's got to take that job. And if it's not Matt Rhule, I think Penn State should go really far right, go get Adam Gase. Those deer in headlight eyes talking about Penn State football would just genuinely make me so happy. And speaking of making me happy, just let's give a round of applause to Oklahoma State football. The shirtless student section on a team that's just getting the belt is the best thing, and why college football rocks, why dudes rock, why guys rule, why just guys being dudes is such a thing. Because the fact that you're sitting at that game watching your team just get smoked, and the immediate reaction is, yeah, we got to pop our darts off and just go crazy. Like Oklahoma State football, you may have lost, but you are back and you won. Like Oklahoma State, in my book, AP Top 25, you're the number one team in the country solely because your fans decided to just go shirtless. Like, it says a lot about the product on the field that the stands were that empty and they could all gather and pop their darts at the same time. But genuinely, I don't think it gets better than a bunch of dudes wasted at a college football game just going, let's just pop our darts off, man. We're getting smoked anyway. Let's just shirtless section. Like, that's just awesome. You got guys coming from all around the stadium to join them. My favorite story in all of college football. That was awesome. Is UCLA back? I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because I don't want these episodes to be too long, but I mean, Jerry Newsheisel, however the heck you say that name, dude, that kid's literally going to be the next guru in the NFL. He's completely resurrected and revived Nico, who I know before every game is clicking record on a camera and clicking record at the end of the game so he can send that tape to every college football coach to try to get more money at the end of the year. But UCLA is just fun, dude. Their uniforms are so sick that when they suck, it sucks. Like when DTR was at UCLA and it was electric, like there's something about watching a quarterback ball out in the UCLA uniforms that just gets me going. And it is cool to see Nico doing what he's doing. It is cool. On the other side of that coin, Michigan State, the sweet darling wagon, you're banned. You're banned. Moving on. End of story. Speaking of just funny stories, I had a realization this weekend that professional sports athletes are humans and people too. And it was in the most hysterical moment of all time. And I have this realization like 2 times a week, especially because I'm betting on sports every day and I'm consuming sports every day. Sometimes you forget that they're people with like real lives and they're actually humans. And I try to remind myself, but I get reminded at least like 3 times a week where I'm like, oh shit, I forgot. and this is going to segue perfectly into what I want to talk about next, but Mendoza, the Indiana quarterback, doing an interview, and in the interview, shouting out the game day, being like, shout out Pat McAfee for picking us, and shouting out like sports outlets is genuinely one of the funniest things I've ever seen of all time, because you just realize, oh, these kids are watching what you're putting out. Like, oh, this is actually a dude, and he saw like everyone pick against him, but then he went out there and balled. And I just want to say, because I was big on Indiana last year, and I'm big on them this year again. I'm picking up the pen for this. This is the pen in the camera. Do not get off this train too early if you're supporting Indiana. Do not. This is not the same Signetti. This is not the same Indiana from last year that's going to buckle and fold. This kid Mendoza is the real deal. Surratt is a baller. Let me do that again. A baller, dude. He broke the O. He scored one of the sickest touchdowns I've seen. Mendoza put it in his lap. Like, those two are reminding me of Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson at LSU, the way that they just command the game. He's always open, and Mendoza always finds him with a perfect ball. Now, I'm not saying he's Justin Jefferson. I'm not saying he's Joe Burrow. It just reminds me of that. And I think this is exciting. Like, this is an Indiana team that I truly think can win the Big Ten and that can go on a playoff run this year. And it's not the same Indiana from last year where I know everyone's going to start going, it's giving shades. And Signetti, I just got to say, man, just reeling in this year. The Google Me quote from last year, that was automatic, unbelievable. Let's keep the quotes to a minimum this year. And when you make the playoff, don't go on the show, because you went on the show and then you got spanked. So never again. Never do that again. But Indiana's a real deal, man. If I wasn't already holding an absolute gem of a ticket on Alabama to win the Natty, I'd place Indiana after watching that game. That game just showed me how deep Indiana is and how gritty they are, and you need to be deep and gritty to win big games. Cam Newton got his jersey retired in Auburn, and they sold the game away in classic Auburn fashion. But it was cool to see Cam Newton get his jersey retired. Just a quick nod to Cam Newton. 6'6", by the way. 6'6", by the way. And Jackson Arnold couldn't do it for him at home. It's just despicable that they sold that game away on the spread. Let's do some quick key games, and we're going to keep it quick. So start your timers. Ohio State killed Illinois. This team rocks. Top to bottom, that defense is an NFL defense. Caleb Downs is incredible. There's not many teams in the country that I think can beat Ohio State. Julian Sain, Jeremiah Smith, just do enough to beat you every single game and beat you handily. They don't go and extend themselves. They don't get ahead of their skis. They don't get above their britches. The Red River Shootout, I'm going to keep this one quick. I think Oklahoma with a backup quarterback wins that game. Forcing Mateer out there, and you could tell, I'm not saying that those mistakes didn't all come down to the hand, but a lot of them did. You could tell his throwing motion was a little bit off. You could tell he was forcing it a little bit. And Mateer hasn't made mistakes like that all year. And you just can't convince me that his hand not being 100% healthy didn't attribute to him turning the ball over 3 times. And those picks were the worst picks I've seen him throw in the 3 years he's been in college, from Washington State to now. You can go back to Washington State. He's never had picks that bad. And I think it was just dumb from Oklahoma to force him out there. That hurts Oklahoma, because you let Arch, who's not good, and a Texas team who's not good, beat you. And this Texas team is not good, and Arch is not good. With John Mateer throwing 3 picks, the fact that Texas didn't beat Oklahoma by 50 points tells you everything you need to know about this game. But Texas just owns Oklahoma. That's just the recent bias. Texas owns Oklahoma. I'm going to sit on the other side and say I had Oklahoma, and I genuinely think if John Mateer's hand is healthy, they beat that Texas team by 20, because you have field placement, you have 3 picks, and Arch Manning still couldn't do it. And then he has the audacity to run that game out and slide and wave goodbye as if he did a damn thing. That Texas defense carried your ass for 4 quarters, and you have the audacity to wave goodbye. Bama beat Mizzou, and Mizzou covered. That's the best case scenario in sports betting when I have the money line and everyone else has Mizzou, because we can all do this. USC beat Michigan. We just got to let's tap into the system. The unranked home favorite against a ranked team is going to smack every single time. USC and Utah. Shake the hands, smacked in the jaw. It was such a great game. Jaden Mayava looked phenomenal. And I said that last week in the episode. Now, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but sometimes when I get one through the hoop, feels good. Feels good. Let's have a moment for ourselves that watched last episode and we're like, damn, Mikey called Jaden Mayava having a match class against Michigan. How about it? Let's just stop sleeping on Georgia Tech. Can we collectively, as a population in college football, go, Georgia Tech, you're doing great? Because I feel like we're not doing that. And when Haynes King leaves, will we hear from Georgia Tech again for the next 5-10 years? Maybe not. I don't know. So I just want to say it to you, Georgia Tech. You're doing great. Keep up the good work. Nebraska came back, but Matt Rhule is definitely going to be the Penn State head coach. And that's tough. And Nebraska fans, I'm here for you. I'm hearing you. I'm listening to you. But again, I'm just going to tell you to your face, Matt Rhule is taking that job. He's taking that job. A&M, I want this said on the record, is for real. Marcel Reed is so raw. If you watch that game and didn't walk away from that game going, damn, Marcel Reed's going to be really, really, really good this level and the next level, we're not watching the same games. Let's do a quick Week 8 look ahead here at some key games and some bets that I just want to put on your radar. Again, if you're a place to bet early kind of guy, maybe this is a segment for you. If you just want to hear about some key games while you're on your way to work or while you're chilling during the week, that's even better. But let's start with a bet I'm taking. I don't care where it goes. Vanderbilt's beating LSU this weekend. I'm going to let that sit. Vanderbilt is beating LSU this weekend. They are the biggest pretender on this top 25, and they're not good. They're not good. The biggest story coming out of LSU this year is that Whit Weeks secured Lane Kiffin's daughter. And you know what? Good for the kid. I love Love. Love is awesome. I hope they have an awesome relationship. But that's the biggest news coming out of LSU, man, is that Whit Weeks is dating the coach's daughter at Ole Miss. It has nothing to do with the football team. Garrett Nussmeier hasn't looked great. He's definitely banged up, and that's not his fault. But Vanderbilt's beating LSU. Like, this is a Diego Pavia. I couldn't beat Alabama this year, but I got news for you, LSU. You're coming into the house next, and we protect this house in Vanderbilt now all of a sudden. So, Vanderbilt's beating LSU. Georgia Tech and Duke right now. Duke is the favorite. That fits the system. An unranked home favorite against a ranked team. I know we just gave Georgia Tech their flowers, but in the same sentence, I'm going to drive it in a little bit. Duke is probably going to win this game. So, let's just, as a community on this channel, track that game. If the spread flips, I'd probably feel very comfortable taking Georgia Tech. But if that spread stays the same as it is right now, where Duke is the short favorite, we're going to have to take Duke just because it fits the system. Also, that game's going over. OU's playing USC, and USC's plus 5.5. We have to fade the hand. Like, these are just my early thoughts on the games. We have to fade the hand. If John Mateer's hand's not 100%, you can't pay me to take Oklahoma with a non-100% hand. So give me USC points in my pocket. Like, that feels automatic. That feels automatic. And by USC, I mean South Carolina. Like, that feels Lenora Sellers, the 5 points in my pocket against a quarterback that doesn't have his hand. That feels automatic. Ohio State at Wisconsin. Madison, Wisconsin. I'll be there. I'm going to be traveling with CBS Sports this weekend to Madison, Wisconsin. I'm so stoked to check out the bars, check out the stadium, check out the scene. So if you go to Wisconsin, hit my DMs. Let me know where to go, what the best tailgate spots are. Because I'm trying to experience a Big Ten school, man. But that means system play. We got to take Wisconsin. So unfortunately, that's the play. Like, hands are tied. Wisconsin. Hopefully it's a look-ahead game for Ohio State. Hopefully they go into it trying to sleepwalk, and I get to watch a little frisky Wisconsin make some noise. Ole Miss at Georgia. This is going to be the game of the weekend. I think this is going to tell you a lot about Georgia, and I think it's going to tell you a lot about Ole Miss. On one side, Georgia's so battle-tested right now that I find it so hard to think Ole Miss can go in there and shock the world. But you're giving me a touchdown spread. And every time I get a touchdown spread in these close games, especially in college with a guy like Lane Kiffin, who is now, I think, going into a game where you're opening up the entire playbook. We saw Washington State go in there and almost make this game because I genuinely think Ole Miss for 2 straight weeks has just been looking at the University of Georgia on a map going, we need it, we need it, we need it, we need it. The Ole Miss plus 7.5, it has to be. It has to be. Any touchdown spreads in close games like this, I love. Chambliss, I think, is the guy. This is going to be his first true road test, and that is a really tough stadium to walk into. But 7.5 points, I don't hate. I think Georgia first half could be a sneak play, maybe just for this channel. But I love this game. It's going to be such a good game. Tennessee at Alabama. Bama's minus 8.5. I'm not taking that spread, but let's go Bama. Hopefully they win, our natty champion. And then last game to look ahead at, USC is going into Notre Dame, the classic matchup. USC plus 7.5 and the over are both going to be on my platter. Jaden Mayava's coming off a game at Michigan where you start feeling yourself, and now you play a Notre Dame team that I still don't have a lot of faith in, and you're giving me a touchdown again. Like, please. Jaden Mayava's a better quarterback. I think USC's a better team. Notre Dame has the better running back, that's for sure. But you're giving me 7.5 again, man. Like, that just feels too simple. So I'm going to take it. Those are some key games to look ahead to for Week 8. We will have a full Week 8 episode coming out on Wednesday night or Thursday morning, so keep an eye out for that. I will say, though, for all my sickos, we have college football this week. Wednesday, I'm taking Delaware and UTEP. Just putting that on your radar. You get it first because you showed up and watched the video. Also, please like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for showing these videos support. The views on the last episode we had were something I didn't think we'd get to for a year. So you guys are awesome. You guys are the GOATs. Delaware, UTEP on Wednesday. Friday, we're taking Nebraska minus 6.5 because Matt Rhule is going to tell the kids he's not leaving. They're going to cover a spread, and he's going to go, maybe I shouldn't leave. And then Miami minus 13.5 could be an interesting game. But we're going to talk about all the plays in depth next episode. Hopefully you guys are liking these episodes where we do a little reaction and then a little look ahead. I know I do. But we end every episode the same with a little bit of Mikey core. Something I've been trying to remind myself of very, very frequently because I think life can get very, very hard. And I don't say that to say that, oh, I'm this weak guy and like I'm always talking about my problems. And I do think that talking about your problems a lot exacerbates the problems and it makes them bigger. I do. And I wanted to leave you guys with this. Something that I've been really trying to work on is please, please, please don't forget that these hard times, the difficult battles, and the long nights where sleep just doesn't seem to come very easy are making you who you are. I think a lot of the times we look at our challenges and we look at the road bumps and we think, this shows me how weak I am, or man, I'm such a coward for that, or man, I feel so bad about myself right now. I don't even know what to do anymore. And I think we let them define us. In our darkest moments, we let those moments define us. And I just as a reminder, those difficult battles, those nights where sleep seems impossible, and those hard times are making you who you are. Because they're not making you weak. They're making you stronger. And every single one that you get through, and I know you're going to get through every single one, even if it doesn't seem like it, I promise you there's light at the end of that tunnel and you're going to get there. And yeah, there might be another tunnel 5 steps after that. But every single tunnel that you get through, you're getting stronger with every battle. So don't think that because you're going through a hard time, you're weak, or because things aren't going your way, or that you're never going to get through it, or that you're the weakest part. You're not. It's only making you stronger. And I say that seriously. So embrace the difficult battles that you're having and find the strength to continue. Because day after day, night after night, there is a light at the end of that tunnel, and I promise you, you're going to get there. So be kind to yourself, push yourself, and be the hero of your own story. Show up for yourself every single day, and it's okay to not be okay right now. It's okay. If you're not feeling okay, that's okay. But be strong enough to prove to yourself and show your current self that you will be okay again, because I know you'll get there. Hopefully you guys have a great week. Thank you so much for all the support on this stuff. I love you guys so much, and we'll see you here next episode.